Okay, the adjustable housing perch is done. So you probably saw the install video on the Patina car. We learned a bunch about that. Before I let these things out in the wild, I really wanted to install a set myself, make sure that everything was honky-dory and worked out good. I learned some stuff about the tolerances. I'm likely going to have these two, well, there'll be four of them, right? These two, or these four and these four laser cut so I can get the tolerance right where I want it. I don't want there to be a big gap in between these. I'd like to keep this as, a nice solid piece as much as I can. I just don't want a bunch of clearance, right? So since we are splitting the housing perch, I was mindful of wanting to keep this stuff tight because I don't want it to come apart for obvious reasons. So this piece of 6061 block, definitely not going to come apart. There's lots of meat around the holes. You can see that this is a angled block by the fact it's not equal there. And it's two different distances right there. So what's cool about this is you could put this in that way, or you put it in that way, right? So that's going to make it so you could be 2 degrees one way or 2 degrees the other way around center. These are going to get welded together with this little tiny washer like this. I'm going to supply these washers with all this stuff because it needs to have them in between here when you weld these to the housing. Imagine having to beat this in and out every single time you wanted to make a change. I don't want a massive gap here, but I also can't have this to where you can't fish it back out, right? Imagine how terrible that would be to try to change that if you got to pry this whole thing apart. So tentatively, the plan for this configuration is to sell these with the centered blocks. So you can see that is a centered one. The distances right there are equal. It's pretty easy to see it when they're sitting right next to each other. Let's see. Can we zoom in on that? Kind of. So my tentative plan is you get 2 of these bases, 4 of these brackets to weld the housing. This can be 3, 3.25, or 3.5. It'll come with all the bolts, 7/16. I was going to use 1/2 inch, but the bolt, in order to have 4 bolts per side, right? So 4 on the housing, 4 on the perch. This just gets clustered, and you end up where you're just not going to be able to fit it. So these are 12-point grade 8s. It might end up being a cap screw. This head is definitely smaller. It'll most definitely be a 7/16 ARP 12-pointer right there. And then you can see that thing fits through there. Super nice. This is drilled with a 7/16 carbide drill for nice precision. The holes are really, really straight. It's done on the CNC mill. So they're really flat and they're really shiny. One of the guys had a cool idea to anodize them different colors for the different sizes. I thought that might actually be kind of cool, and that'll make them last a lot longer too. So there you go. That's kind of coverage. And then the other thought with this, or the other option, it's not thought, other option with this too, is that we could delete these 2 holes. And then this hole could be offset in one direction or the other. And this would make it so you had rear steer. So this is another advantage that I hadn't even thought of until yesterday when I was talking to a guy about rear steer. That this thing is removable from the housing. The only thing that's going to be on the housing is this. So we could do whatever we wanted. We can make these taller. I can't unfortunately make it any shorter. I settled on 2 inches, which is like the normal height of the housing perches that I make all the time. So that's like the most common one is a 2-inch tall one. So I can't get all these bolt holes in this thing and have meat around the bolt hole because I don't want this to tear through there either, right? So there's good meat around both sides of that guy. So 2 inches tall is what this unit ended up being. 1/4 inch press braked, same as the other through bolt perches and stuff. And so those shims, we'll set that up perfect for welding this to the housing. That'll work out great. This shim pack actually came out of this perch, tacked together. You can see that settles right back in there. Fits good. A little tiny bit of clearance will tighten up just fine. This other one, drop it in there. Bam, there you go. And you can change the pinion angle that easy. So having this perch 2 pieces like this really makes a lot of options for heights, offsets, forward back. So like a rear steer option and pinion angle. So yeah, you get all the get a set of blocks, get a set of plates, get a set of housing tabs, bolts, 12 points, and that'll be the setup. So if you got any other questions, let me know. Text, email, phone, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, carrier pigeon, smoke signals, pager. Maybe not a pager. I don't have a pager. Don't do that. But you get the point. There's all kinds of methods here for contact. So yeah, if you got any other questions, just let me know, and drop me a few comments. Let me know what you think of this stuff, and we'll get with you guys soon. Till next time.